Kiseki. I am Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Halp.
And I'm Matt Jorgensen.
And the portion of Falcom's Kiseki series we'll be playing today is the 5th chapter of Kevin Game, Trails in the Sky the Third, entitled Labyrinth of Shadows and Light. But before we get started, what's good in your neighborhood?
I am 7/8 asleep.
Me too. I have had zero energy today. Like most of my day, I just sat like in a zombified state, staring at my computer, praying that no tickets came in. Very few tickets did come in, so it was a pretty good day to be zombified. But I was very not it, and that continues to right now. So I am artificially excited because podcast. What about you, Matt?
Let's see, anything exciting? My computer set itself on fire. But it ended up just being a relatively easy fix. Providing we can get the parts. That's the big holdup at this point.
What parts do you need?
I need one replacement fan.
Okay.
And then there's a board that, because the fan stopped working, but it was one of the fans right in the middle of the laptop, so of course I wouldn't notice it.
Mm-hmm.
Burned out. But I don't remember what that one was.
Okay.
But but
not just like hard drives or RAM or anything like that I have piles and piles of.
No, it's not a. If it was a normal thing that I recognized of the words you usually say, I would have said, "Hey Sam, do you got one of these?" But it was a thing I did not recognize of the words you usually say, so I was like,
"Yeah,
let's just order it." Let's see though, something good to go with that.
I have a related thing. My Vita would not turn on today. Yesterday, I consoleized it. So there's a plugin for your Vita where you can use video out over USB and make it show up as a webcam on your computer. So I was doing that with while using a DualShock 4 to kind of turn it into a PS TV so that I could play it on my TV while I was working, because the problem with portable game systems is they're great when you're in bed and lounging, but if you're trying to do it while doing other things, you have to set it down to do the other thing, and then ADHD says it doesn't exist and you just don't ever pick it back up. So I had consoleized it to make that not an issue, so it would be up in my frame of reference, and it was charging from the computer just fine the entire day yesterday, and everything is fine. But when I stopped playing, it stopped charging, I guess, and it ran out of battery overnight. So I plugged it into the wall this morning, checked on it at lunch, nothing. Changed the plug, nothing. I couldn't get it to turn on no matter what I was doing. It was flashing that it was charging, but wasn't actually ever turning on. So I bought Trails in the Sky the Third for the computer and got Bernard's save file and tried to hurry and catch up. And then my Vita turned on, and that is exciting. I looked into what it would take to fix it, and all of them say don't attempt this fix unless you're really, really good at soldering. And I am not really, really good at soldering. I have soldered one Game Boy screen, and that's it. So I don't know if I'm going to fix it or just deal with the crappy. But yeah, that sucked. But it's working now, and hopefully it will continue to keep charging so that I can finish this game. Did you think of your one good thing, Matt? Close this out.
My one good thing, we celebrated Rebecca's birthday this week.
Awesome.
Rather poorly because we're both working.
Mm-hmm.
But I grilled some burgers and we watched one of her action movies, what she likes so much. And it was a good time. Also, my dog turned 1.
Nice. Big old floppy boy.
He's a big old floppy boy.
Nice. So now that Bernard is now, I was going to do cheeky math. 15/16 asleep. We should probably talk about the plot for the week.
Yes.
So, our chapter, as usual, starts with a flashback. This one takes place right after Rufina died. Kevin asks Carnelia to just kill him because he doesn't want to go on. Carnelia is like, actually, I came here to promote you. He says, why? I couldn't even protect Rufina. And Carnelia is like, that's not important. The Cardinal wants you to fill her shoes by becoming the Dominion that she wasn't able to be because you have a big old strong stigmata and we want your powers. I know. And Kevin then, like a very normal person, laughs maniacally for like 6 text boxes. And Cornelia's like, so is that a yes? And he goes, it's a hell yes. Fuck it. Give me all the hard shit. I'm going to take all the hard jobs. I don't even give a shit. And also for my fancy code name, call me Heretic Hunter, because I really suck at code names, and Carnelia is a way better name than this, but it doesn't matter because I'm stupid. Call me Heretic Hunter. Back in the present, Kevin is still out cold from when he collapsed last week, so the group catches Estelle up on what happened, and she says, wow, so that's what happened. Olivia sums up where they all stand as follows. Who are the Lord of Phantasma and Schwartzritter? What is the cube and who is the ghost? And what the fuck is Phantasma anyways, and how did it come to exist? They also wonder why Kevin passed out, and Joshua guesses that it's his stigma, and Reese agrees. She says that Kevin never uses his stigma, so his mind and body isn't prepared to use it, so it just exhausted him. And last week, I didn't get the goosies for my favorite trope because they said it after, and so it didn't quite work. But I started getting the goosies this week, like, oh hell yeah. Of course he uses it so little that his body wasn't ready for it. This is the coolest shit in the world. I love anime. But because he's just exhausted from it, he's fine. He just needs to rest for a chapter so that Reese and Estelle can have girls team time. Reese fills us in on what a Dominion is. They are a group of 12 knights, and they all have stigmas that give them their incredible power. They're also really good at thaumaturgy, better than everybody else. Kevin is the 5th Dominion, and everyone takes a break to remind us that Kevin is a fucking dork. And they're like, this guy is one of the 12th most badasses on the continent. Whatever. She says that there are always only 12 dominions. So if one of them dies and they can't find a person with a stigma, they leave the spot empty on the council or whatever until the stigma reveals itself. Like, there's always only 12. There's not a waiting period. They don't fill it willy-nilly. It's like, there are 12 of us out there. We will find all 12 of us, or we won't. Estelle asks why Joshua isn't a Dominion since he has a stigma, and Reese says that Weissman was a bishop in the Congregation for the Sacraments, who are the Grausritter's bosses, and the whole time that he was a bishop, he was running Ouroboros and stealing sacraments to try and create a superhuman, implying Joshua, but no one has follow-up questions, even though I have a lot. And she says that Joshua's stigma was artificial and carved into him by Weissman and not a naturally occurring one, which is what makes you a Dominion. Reese says that she's going to be the main character for this chapter, and Estelle asks if she can be the deuteragonist, and everyone says, sure, why not? Bernard, who did you take with you this week, since you were the only person who actually played the game?
I took Joshua, because Estelle and Joshua have to be together.
Mm-hmm.
And I do not remember who I took as my fourth person at this point.
Yeah, because we get some cool party members this week. I figured it would change when you got some later ones. Before we head into the fifth plane, Reese asks Estelle why she volunteered to be second fiddle out of nowhere. Estelle is like, no real reason. I just wanted to give back. Kevin did a whole lot for me in the past, so I want to do a whole lot for him now. And Reese is like, but what does that have to do with me? And Estelle's like, obviously you're important to him. And Reese is like, what? And Estelle's like, y'all are obviously family. And Reese is like, no, we haven't seen each other in 5 years. There's no bond between us whatsoever. And Estelle's like, seems fake, but okay. So they step through the teleportal and into another JRPG Dreamscape chapter, the titular Labyrinth of the week. Some dream spiders come and eldritch horror at us for a little bit, but Estelle is unfazed and kicks some devil butt. We then go through the labyrinth, and eventually we come across a sealing stone, and inside this one is Richard. Fuck yeah. We catch him up on what's going on, and he's like, yeah, but why me? Everyone else is a comrade. They all fought together in the first or second game. I was the villain of the first game, and I was in jail for the second game. I don't fit in, and everyone's like, but it's cool that you're a party member, and plot is always secondary to coolness. So we're going to just hand wave it away that you're important so that you can be here and be a kick-ass party member, because apparently his crafts have the lowest delay out of anything in the entire game, including moving and waiting. So if you use his crafts in battle, he can move like 3 times in a row. And that's fucking cool because Richard is awesome. Did you put Richard in your party, Bernard?
Of course.
Of course.
He didn't stay there for long, though.
Yeah, I will probably replace Mueller with him because he's apparently even stronger than Mueller, and Mueller is really good. But also, I've been thinking about just doing the press A to win party and putting Zen and Mueller and Richard in my party when I can pick 3. If I can't pick 3, then just Richard and Mueller to hold down the button and pick the ones whose attack is their strong suit, because I'm on easy and I'm way behind.
Yes, he does rule. He doesn't stay there for long because I wanted Estelle and Joshua in my party, and we get another party member just about immediately, so I had to put that person in my party.
Yeah. Back in the labyrinth, we happen upon Patermater and a Pokeball, which of course has Rin in it. And I skipped over one tiny bit. Richard's in his uniform, even though he hasn't been in the army for months now, and he doesn't wear his uniform anymore. And everyone's like, I wonder why that could be. And the answer is asset reuse. But the actual answer is a mystery, and they haven't figured it out yet. So, in the labyrinth, we happen upon Patermater and a Pokeball that has Rin in it. When we wake her up, she's like, oh, what a nice dream. Joshua and Estelle are here. Wait, you guys are here? Stop following me. I'll fucking kill you. I'll kill everyone and the horse you rode in on. Joshua and Estelle have apparently been trying to find Rin. The whole we're going to go travel the whole continent thing has basically been a cover because they're trying to find her. Because after the events of the previous game, she never joined Ouroboros. Like, all of the intel they have say that Ouroboros is also looking for her because she's out on the run somewhere. So they want to talk to her and tell her to be a good guy. So Ren is like, obviously you're just lying to try and capture me. Too bad. I don't know anything about Ouroboros. So even if you captured me, I couldn't say anything. Just leave me alone. So she pulls out her scythe and threatens to behead everyone. Reese is like, okay, cool. you must be the angel of slaughter. I thought that you would have been less of a brat, because if you're clever enough to join Ouroboros at such a young age, you're obviously just wasting time and throwing a temper tantrum with this whole y'all are trying to capture me thing. You're not that stupid. Ren is like, well, fuck you, and I'm gonna wipe that shit-eating grin right off your face. And Reese is like, I actually don't know you, and I don't care about you. Everyone else seems to like you, but I have no attachment to you whatsoever. You're my enemy as a member of Ouroboros, so I'm going to kill you and not even feel bad about it. Tita breaks in to be like, stop, both of you, just stop it. Ren, you're obviously happy to see Joshua and Estelle. You said as much when you thought that you were still dreaming. Reese, you trust us and you know that she's not a threat. So both of you are just grandstanding at this point. Just stop it. And she starts crying. And Ren is like, why are you crying? And Estelle's like, because Tita likes you, you idiot. Why don't we just truce all of this, table it, and we'll just work together for a bit. And Ren is like, well, only if you give me some exposition first. So we do that. Ren deduces that we must be in some sort of dreamlike reality that changes based on our memories, because Richard had a strong attachment to his uniform. So when he came here, he was still wearing it. And all of the asset reuse for the dungeon so far has been places from our memories. And all of the doors that we run into replay our memories. So it's definitely feeding off of us the same way that my brain says Lucretia, but I know that's not her actual name.
Luciola?
Luciola. The way that Luciola's gospel was working last game, and trapping people in dreams and basing it off of that. It's similar, but this seems to be a real place and not a dream. So it's doing something, but someone else is pulling the strings. Someone built the box, even though the box is filled with stuff about us. She says that it seems like our ghost friend is the original inhabitant of this place, but the Lord of Phantasma came in and started molding things to their whim, which has fucked everything up. And everyone's like, wow, that kind of answers all three of our questions that we should have been able to put together ourselves. And she's like, you can thank me for figuring stuff out later. Let's just hit the road. So she joins the party and we head back to the Labyrinth. And she quickly joins Bernard's team.
Yes.
Yeah, she apparently also owns and is even better at like arts and stuff than Shara is.
So she joins the party with 800 EP. So
Jesus fuck.
And is really good at arts. So yeah, and also really good at attacking.
Yeah. That sounds dope. I will.
And really good at healing. She can do everything.
And Josette is a support character.
Yes.
So we make it to the end of the labyrinth and we're ambushed by some giant devil spiders from scripture, of course, and we fight them. After you take out 3 of them, they call their even bigger mommy spider, and we have to fight that. Bernard, how was this fight?
Very difficult. The first time I played it, I got to the mother spider, and I just could not deal damage to it fast enough because it can drain health from you. So I couldn't damage it fast enough. Then on the retry, my first retry, for some reason, I could damage it fast enough. I guess it made it easier, like it does. So I was able to beat it the second time.
After the fight, we get another Pokeball, but this one is like a whitish purple, as opposed to the gold that they normally are. Reese says that the others have been all warm and fuzzy feeling, but this one is calm and cool, and she guesses that it might contain the goddess herself. Schwartzritter shows up and he says he's impressed that we've gathered the final piece and gotten here so quickly. He says that this Pokeball contains not another piece, but a rule book of sort. He says that the next game board, all of us will find ourselves face to face with a number of trials to overcome. Even he will be one of the trials, and he eagerly awaits seeing if we can make it to him. He disappears, and we head back to unlock the stone. Inside the stone is Celeste Alsleese. I never learned how to pronounce that name, but it's Chloe's ancestor that we impersonated on the areola. She was involved with areola living things a long time ago, and I'm sure we'll get the exact sort of things next time because this is where it ends. She is, in fact, the ghost person we've been seeing before, and she's also Chloe's ancestor, and that's interesting.
That's really cool.
But we don't get to talk about it yet.
But yes, chapter ends. Cliffhanger.
Yeah. Chapter ends. So let's listen to some Kevin music, and then we will talk about a couple of the doors that are available to us this week. All right. So I still didn't go back to do Chloe's door. I started it on the Vita, and I was really enjoying it, and I got like halfway through it. But because my Vita died, I didn't get to finish it. And when I was writing my notes today, I didn't pick that one to do. So we'll get around to it. Apparently, Chapter 7 is only 2 entries long on the LP archive. So we'll probably have time to catch up and do some ones that we missed then. But so I did Sundoor 2, which is a fishing tournament with Estelle. Most of it is unimportant. The absolute most important thing in the whole game, though, are the amazing CGs that pop up when you're facing each of your opponents. Did you guys do this one?
No, I didn't do any doors this week. I didn't have the energy for it.
Same, but replace energy with computer.
Let me show you. Let me pull it up because they're amazing.
Oh, that's so good.
They're fantastic. Some of my favorite art in the whole game. They're super good. But yeah, she fishes against 3 people and you get some Mira at the end of it. More important is Moon Door number 4, which is Joshua and Estelle's door, which is super important. So it takes place in that first week, way back when they first ever met while they're little babbies. And Joshua is still recovering in bed from his fight with Cassius, and he's screaming in his sleep. Estelle is in the room checking on him, and he starts thrashing in his sleep, so she leaves the room to get him a cold compress. He calls out for Karen, and then he narrates that he kept hearing the same words in his head, but had no idea who was saying him. The narration is, we find out later, this is him thinking back right before he leaves Estelle at the end of the first game. Later, we see Joshua outside resting under a tree, and Estelle is looking for him. And when she finds him, he says that he's feeling better. And Estelle's like, "Cool, do you want to play with me?" And Joshua says, "If you want to play by yourself. Just stay away from me. And tell Cassius, thanks for taking care of me. I'm just gonna sit here and mope." And so Estelle says, I practiced my Donald Duck impersonation all day, but now I'm too embarrassed to actually do it.
Don't do it. No one can do a Donald Duck impression. There is always one person on the earth who can do a Donald Duck voice. Then that person dies, someone else can suddenly do it, and Disney hires that person.
Yeah, it's the Donald Duck Dominion. There's always only one.
Yes.
But Estelle says, no frowning, no sad faces. See the joke, it's Kingdom Hearts. If it did it in the Donald Duck voice, it would have been great, but I can't do it. So she runs off to get stuff for Joshua to cheer him up, and he says, they will probably find me within 2 or 3 days, so it isn't safe for me to stay here. Estelle comes back with a whole bunch of bugs and lizards and creepies and crawlies because she's awesome, and she thinks that that's what Joshua will like. While doing so, she accidentally pisses off a whole swarm of bugs, and while running away from them, knocks her and Joshua into the pond, splashes around, super cute, gets the idea to go fishing for lunch, and the whole time Josh is just trying really hard to sulk, and she's not letting him, because no frowning, no sad faces. The next week, Estelle's friends come over because she hasn't been over to play in an entire week, and they're worried about her. Joshua sizes them up and down to make sure that they aren't Ouroboros, and Estelle comes back to sees them and introduces them to Joshua. She says, this is my new little brother. He was my present. I get to be an older sister now. And because I'm the older sister, Joshua has to listen to everything that I say. And Joshua's like, no, I fucking don't. And Estelle goes, yes, you fucking do. So later that night, we see that apparently since Joshua's been there, Estelle has been like sitting up to watch over him while he goes to fall asleep, but ends up falling asleep first herself. So Joshua tucks her into his bed, and then he goes outside to sleep. When he goes outside, he runs into Cassius, and Cassius is like, you don't have to sleep out here. There's a storage room next to Estelle's room. I'll turn it into a bedroom for you. And Joshua's like, I don't need a room. I'm not going to be here long. And Cassius says that Joshua is clueless. Estelle knows exactly what she wants, and she isn't afraid to go get it. Meanwhile, Joshua doesn't know shit about shit, and he doesn't even know what he wants out of life anymore. So he is the simpleton and the dumbass, not Estelle. He tells Joshua that he's not going to stop him from going, but he's also not going to make him leave. It's up to Joshua to choose what he wants to do. And Joshua's like, free will? What do you mean I have a choice? A couple of weeks later, the Purcell family has had their twins. And so Estelle brings Joshua along to help out at the farm. When Miss Purcell sees that Joshua is still recovering, she doesn't let him help with the field work, and she makes him watch the twins while she and the girls work the fields. Joshua wonders why no one has come after him yet, and he feels like he's missing something important in his memories, but he can't tell what it is. He could just tell there's a void in his memories that's like nagging at him. Estelle comes by to show him the veggies that she picked, and her legs are all scraped to shit. So Joshua disinfects the scrape and bandages it and takes good care of her because he cares about her, and he doesn't realize it yet. The twins start to cry, so to calm them down, he plays them his harmonica. And then in narration, we get Joshua's internal monologue where we see that this is him deciding to leave Estelle because he remembers what he had lost, and what he had lost was his happy memories. So he doesn't want to lose his happy memories again and fuck things up by being a danger to Estelle. So to keep his happy memories with Estelle, he's going to leave, and all of that other bad choices he makes at the end of the first game. The next day, we follow Estelle as she runs some errands in town, and we see that she's not actually an idiot, and she can tell that something's wrong with Joshua, but she's just trying to cheer him up because she knows that she won't be able to help him with whatever's going on with him. So instead of asking about it and making it worse, she's just going to try and be a source of happiness. So she's going to catch the bug of legends, the biggest bug in the entire forest. So she goes into the forest to catch it, and she lies in wait. Camera cut over to Joshua trying to leave the Bright House, and he leaves Cassius a letter thanking him for everything, but he's got to get out of there. Then he hears Estelle screaming from the forest. So of course, because he loves her, he runs after her. She's surrounded by monsters, so he stigmas the fuck out of them and scares them away. Then he scolds her for doing something so dangerous and not thinking. And Estella's like, cool, you're here, and hands him a giant Hercules beetle, like bigger than her whole head. She says, if something bad happened to you in the past, you don't have to talk to me about it until you're ready. I'll be by your side anyways, but helping any way I can by finding you the coolest bugs ever. And he says that the bug she found isn't even that cool. She goes, well, I'm going to find you a cooler one. And she runs off. And then he says quietly to himself, you amaze me more than any bug ever will. And is the moment that he fell in love, which is cute. So flash forward to after the events of second chapter, they're leaving to go to Crossbell, and basically all 25 people that live in this country are there to see them off. Estelle and Joshua are going to do some work at all the various guilds that they come across in the other countries, which is kind of what they were doing in the first game for just Liberal, but they're doing it for the whole continent now, which is kind of cute. As they're leaving, Cassius asks Joshua if he's made up his mind, and he says that he has. He wants to be Joshua Bright, not Joshua Astray, as he was in the second game. It's the first step in making choices for himself, and instead of just reacting to what's happening around him. And with that, they are off. Another one I did this week is Star Door number 7, which is just an info dump about the Jeffrey Epstein Foundation. Apparently, Professor Epstein is the original inventor of orb mints, and his disciples, Professor G. Schmidt, L. Hamilton, and A. Russell, are the Epstein Foundation dedicating to spreading orbital technology across the continent. And it was due to their proselytizing that the orbital revolution really took off. The Foundation's 3 tenets are to carry out research on orb mints to better them, even if there's no profit in it, and to spread orbital technology and inform the public of its benefits, namely by finding underserved people and using orb mints to better their standard of living, like the water pump out in the hot springs town. And then to contribute to world peace through technology, apparently by building weapons for the Bracer Guild, because the Bracer Guild are neutral, but that's stupid. And in 1190, they actually agreed that it was stupid. So the Epstein Foundation unveiled the Orbital Network project, which is basically the magical internet to bring peace through communication. And after seeing the conflict between Liberal and Erebonia, they've decided that they're going to focus on things like that foster communication and less weapons in the future. Because they saw all the devastation that orbital weaponry caused back in the war. The final one that I did is Sundoor 4. It's the casino, and you play against characters from Gambler Jack. We haven't read Gambler Jack yet, so I don't know if anything important there matters, or if it's just they wanted a casino and there's a character named Gambler Jack. But yeah, those are the doors I was able to finish. The Chloe door that I started is really long, so it will probably be saved for a short week, or for the door catch-up special if we end up having to set it aside. But for now, let's listen to some more Kevin music and talk about our memorable moments. Does anyone have any?
No.
Cool. What about you, Matt?
I speak for Matt. Neither of us have any.
Yep, nothing I can talk about.
Okay, cool. I have a couple. So, when when Richard shows up and he's talking about how everyone here has worked together in the past and he's a nobody. Estelle goes, I mean, I guess so. And Josette goes, I sure as hell don't want to work with her, though. I don't want her stupid rubbing off on me. And Estelle goes, oh, you're going to feel really stupid after I thwack your brains to mush. And I missed her. I missed her so much.
I like her.
Then everyone at one point is discussing how sexy Richard is in his uniform. I'm not even making that up. And then Tita says, question mark, parentheses, arrow, has no idea what's going on, close parentheses. That's her line of dialogue, and it's fantastic.
They got silly this game.
They really did. Similarly, there's a treasure chest of this week that just says, just keyboard smashing for the entire text box. 3 lines of just garbage, which is silly. And then my final one is when Estelle is taking Joshua to the farm to work. She says that working on the farm is part of his rear hillbilitation process. And he goes, I told you, it's rehabilitation, not rear hillbilitation, which I think is just great.
That's silly.
It's super silly. This game makes me smile a lot, all the time.
I really like the scene where Rin shows up. That scene is interesting. And also, it's sort of funny that no one questions why Rin is here, because we question why Richard was here, and ultimately people were like, well, you did help us out. There was that scene in the second game where your men showed up and helped us out. It was really important. But Rin, it's like, no, Rin has only tried to kill us.
That's fine. Wanting to kill us is okay.
I really enjoyed Richard and Rin in battle. I want to use all these great party members, but there's too many.
There's, like, I get why in this victory lap of a game they wanted to give us all the people, but I miss in the first game where you had curated parties so that you could play as everybody the whole time.
Ultimately, I do like it. And I do spend some time playing with each new party member as I get them. And I think there wasn't really a way to do it without having too many party members. So I like that they were just like, fuck it, we're going to have Mueller, we're going to have Gisette, we're going to have Julia. We're just going to have everyone.
Yeah. And I have a feeling that this next chapter with all of how Schwartzritter was like, oh, all of y'all will have a trial this next thing. I think it'll either be Kefka's Tower and we'll have everybody split up, or we'll have different parts where a different set of people are required. And so you can customize a couple of slots, but it's not going to be Kevin and Reese the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I can't wait to play the shit out of this game for the next 2 weeks to catch up and also play the biggest chapter in the game, which is the next chapter. So
fun.
That'll be a lot of fun.
We can have a long episode for once.
Yeah. Loving our short episodes, but it's weird. It always feels like it's going to be too much, and then when we actually read it, nothing happened. So it'll be great for a lot of things to happen next week. But that will do it for this week. Oh, Matt, before I do that, Did you actually have nothing, or were you being part of the bit?
Oh, yes and no. I wasn't kidding that there was nothing I can talk about. But
Spoilers.
I'm.
If it's this hard to say it, then you can't say it without spoiling something.
And that's okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, to echo the victory lap stuff you were saying. Honestly, I was just trying to figure out a way to say it quickly.
Yeah, Brittany had tweeted not too long ago that everyone talks about how the third is a side game and it's not as important and it wraps things up. But also, if you actually do play it, it's kind of the best one because it has so many good like character bits and so much heart and all of that stuff. And then I heard that it was a single dungeon for the whole game, and I wasn't sure how that was going to be possible. But now that I'm playing it, I really like just all of the cutscenes that normally go in a Kiseki game are quote unquote optional, but all are very good and worth seeking out. Because like in the last games, it has been totally fine to just do the main plot and not do the side quests. Even though the side quests are good, they're all like the way that when you read something funny on the internet, you kind of breathe a little heavier out of your nose, like that level of laughter for how good and interesting the side quests in the first two games were. But all of the side content is fucking delicious in this game, and I love every single bit of it. But yeah, so that'll do it for the week. This series is a timed exclusive for our Ko-Fi supporters. So if you're hearing this in the podcast feed, come on over to www.rpgbook.club. There'll be a few extra episodes waiting on you when you donate, including one absolute exclusive, not timed exclusive bonus episode. I haven't decided what it is yet, but last month I forgot to post it on the Ko-Fi. So because it was day and date for supporters and non-supporters, supporters are getting a little bonus. So we have a couple bonus episodes planned for this one, so it'll probably be one of those. So come on and check it out at www.rpgbook.club and see what all that's about. I don't know what it is now, but by the time you hear this in the podcast feed, it'll already be up. We now have membership tiers. So if you donate $1 a month, you get all of the same stuff that we had before, such as voting on our polls, getting access to the Book Club no Kiseki episodes early. But then we also have two more tiers. A $5 tier where we shout out your name every single episode, and I am not ready for this. So we also have two more tiers, a $5 tier where we get to shout out your name at the end of every episode. Shout outs to Cerebral Wind, Anthony Lerma, Vimk, Jfro Prime, Eli Bergmoss, Doho, and Tuxedo Kin. And on top of that, we also have a $20 a month tier where we will not only read your name, but read a 2-sentence shout out. Our current $20 supporter is Carr, who is a dentist and not a Twitch streamer. So he does not have a URL for you to follow, but he does have this as his shout out to brush your teeth twice a day, most especially before you go to bed. For Book Club no Kiseki, I have been Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Hauk.
And I'm Matt Jorgensen.
Adios, amigos.